Welcome to the Structural Engineering Podcast, episode 2.
Number 2.
Number 2.
Heck yeah.
Every week or so, Zach and I get together to talk about what's going on in structural engineering.
Yeah, last podcast we went over, what was the first week like? If you didn't see that, you should go watch Max peed his pants. So you definitely have to see that one.
On camera.
On camera, yeah. But,
and I think this kind of came up as like, how do you get that first job? It's cool to, how do you handle your first week, but how do you get there?
Yeah, you get a degree in engineering. Like, what does that mean?
What's in between?
What do you do?
So that's what we're going to do.
Yeah.
We're going there. So, I don't know, let's get into it. I think I'll start by asking you.
Yeah.
I don't know how I want to frame this, but like...
I think last time you went first was only fair. I go first this time.
Ladies first.
Yeah, ladies first.
That's why I went first. What, okay. All right. You graduated or you're about to graduate. You applied for jobs. You said last time you applied for a lot. How did you apply for these jobs? How did you find jobs?
So
how did you find
jobs? I think that's a good point. That's a good place to start. Google.
You Googled...
I Googled the places I wanted to live.
I need a job?
No. I Googled... I wanted to live in Colorado. Mm-hmm. So I went to Google, and I looked at different cities in Colorado, and I said, Denver structural engineers. And I just looked for offices.
You were just going by firms. You weren't looking on job boards.
I was not looking for jobs. I was looking at firms. Yeah. I was looking at firms. Cool or not, really. Just like looking at firms. And I guess I kind of went through their profile and was like, okay, what do they do? Like, am I going to like this? Like, I don't know what I want to do. Figure bigger is better.
No, yeah.
Like, right? Like building.
With everything.
Building. Yeah, bigger is better. So... Like I did that. I did a bunch of research on just finding firms, and then like going to their career page and like finding if they had an introduction job.
Did you send any emails to people that didn't have an intro job out?
Majority.
Yeah.
Probably 70% of people did not have one, but it said a lot of emails. I had so many. I kept track with a spreadsheet. Like firm name, location, why I was interested, and like a lot of data points on the firms.
Yeah.
So that if they got back to me, I had like at least what I was. And that's probably not the best way to go about it. Like initially, like just massing out. But I did that in California, Oregon, Washington, Arizona, and Colorado.
How many people responded just to say, no, we don't have a position, thanks for this anyway, and have a nice...
That's actually really interesting. So, there was probably, out of the 80, probably 10 to 15, maybe 20 did that. I got 3 companies that sent me letters saying that they were not hiring at the time, and that they apologized.
That's nice.
Letters. Like, I was like, I got them in the mail, I'm like, is this like a job offer?
Yeah, like, want to talk?
Like, why are they mailing me? But, once you get into the industry, you realize, like, mailing someone is such, it really still means a lot.
In a nice way.
Very formal and nice way. Yeah, so, like, when you get denied by a university or you get accepted by a university, they send you a letter.
It's like the little packet, the big packet. You get
exactly.
A little packet from the job, you're like,
all right, size matters.
Well, thank you.
Big packet. Big packet. So anyways, I had a resume that fit pretty well with most of the companies. I tweaked it a little bit. And then the cover letter was more or less the same.
Really?
I had no clue.
Swap out the name of the company? Or did you even mention it? It was like,
I did. I mentioned it a couple times in there.
Yeah.
And then I was like, well, most of it's generic. And cover letters, like now knowing, like most cover letters are just there to help explain if the resume doesn't tell the full story.
Yeah.
So if like someone was like, I did that, on the resume it was like, I did this for 5 years and it wasn't engineering, the cover letter should explain why. Right? So it is definitely a formality most of the time.
Yeah. I did the name swapping in cover letters, and a couple times I would mess up the names and not swap all of them. And that was like, obviously, hard no.
Sure, I probably sent 1 or 2. I never heard back from because of that.
Oh, yeah.
But I was at the coffee shop like every day doing this. Oh, man. So like I was getting a lot out.
So out of sending out about 80, how many interviews did you get out of that?
Man, it's been a couple of years.
And
I want to say about 6.
Okay, and I don't know if you can pull this number out.
Yeah.
But how many of those 6 had a posting up?
Ooh, I don't remember at all. Yeah,
that's hard.
I do remember some specific interviews though. So I had one in California. So I was like super excited. Like this guy wanted to give me an interview, phone interview. I'm like, cool, done. I prepared for it. I researched the company, did all this, got prepared. I get on the phone with him and he's like super casual. He's like, hey man, how's it going? And this is the, kind of older guy. He's the principal there. And later I found out the firm is notorious for interviewing people and then turning down like everyone.
They just like to get a feel for
or
so
they like over interview and then they just don't hire anyone. Like there's a whole bunch of reviews online about how bad this company was out. So if there's reviews about it, it's obviously happened a lot. They want to talk about your experience, like some extra things you've done in school, who you are, what you're interested in beyond engineering. Make sure you're a good fit because that's really important. So after that, I started asking him questions. So I was like, okay.
Did you have good questions? Did you have anything prepared?
I had a whole bunch of prepared questions, yeah. So beyond the ones about the firm, I started asking about the area and like salary. I was trying to get a good feel. Like the Bay Area is very expensive.
I feel like you're not supposed to ask about salary no matter what.
Yeah, so it wasn't like blatantly like how much am I going to make. It was more like for your engineers that are starting, where do they live? Okay. Yeah. So I was trying to get to that point.
Yeah.
So he like jumped up and was like, okay. They usually commute 2 to 3 hours each way every day. And right then I was like, not going.
Never mind.
Not going. I'm not sitting in traffic 4 to 6 hours a day to work at a job. And then he started talking about numbers, and he's like, well, you start off, you'd be somewhere in the 30s. I'm like, how are you supposed to live in California making 30, like it was like 38, 39, or like 40
driving in Nevada.
That's where you live in Nevada. Like, I was like, what? How does anyone live there? Like, it's a very expensive place. So, kill bridges or anything, or blow them up. Or,
I think it's burn them.
Burn them, kill them, whatever. So I answered them right.
Questions are. How common would you say questions are in an interview? Would someone...
From my experience,
50-50. Okay, 50-50.
50-50, yeah.
I think that's probably what my experience is as well, actually.
I think the firms that have asked me the hard questions are the places that really do crazy stuff. Sat down, all the principals were there. There's 5 people interviewing me.
That's impressive and intimidating.
Yeah, so the first time I interviewed with them was on the phone. I was in the same city as them, and they just were like, let's just jump on the phone and interview. Let's do a quick phone interview.
5 people on the phone? Really?
Yeah. Sorry, 3.
Still.
3 people on the phone.
One-on-one.
And it lasted for about an hour and a half. And that's when I was like, okay, they really care about me.
Willing to put this time in.
They're putting the time in. Like, that means a lot. Like, these guys...
For 3 principal level,
the highest people at the firm spent that much time on the phone with me. And I was like, man, that means a lot. And that interview was around, like, noonish, 3ish, something like that. Like an hour later, I got an email. I sent a follow-up email, and I got an email like almost right back saying, "Can you come in next Wednesday?" It was like a Thursday. They're like, "Can you come in next Wednesday for an interview?"
Going into this is your first actual in-person interview. Mm-hmm. Did you have prep for this? Did you wear a suit? Did you hype yourself up?
I wore a dress shirt and slacks and a belt.
How did you
did
you look at their photos online and say,
I tried to, yeah. So I talked to my friend that I've known forever that was trying to help me, in the industry and stuff, and he was saying, this day and age, ties are just, they're not really out. They're not really in. If you go overdressed, no problem. Like, don't show up in a tux or a 5-piece suit. But, if you show up with a tie and a dress shirt and slacks, that's no problem. Or, show up in a suit. Yeah. That's fine. But don't go crazy, I think. And I think that still stands. I mean, you and I have helped interview people, right? And, someone shows up in a tie or a dress shirt, it's fun, right?
I think if they're...
Can you imagine if they're in a tux?
Well, I think even if they're if they're full suit with a tie and a jacket...
Totally fine.
I don't think it...
Really?
I think it feels weird. Because if everyone else in the room is wearing... a flannel, because it's
think
Colorado.
If you went the opposite way, though. He showed up in a flannel.
If you wore
he showed up in a flannel and everyone there was in suits. He has no clue, right?
Yeah.
And if you go to the current firm we work at
what you
website,
need to do
you don't know.
is you look in the window. You go to the office and take a peek.
Yeah.
And you just do that.
Yeah. So.
Yeah, I guess go over. Go overboard.
to where you're comfortable with. To me, like, you go in, you feel good, you look good, you're gonna, like, you're just gonna put that off.
Yeah.
And maybe you feel more comfortable in a t-shirt than, dress clothes. I mean, I don't think that's any problem. I think if you go in and you feel more comfortable, that's all that really matters. I wouldn't show up in a tux. I think like Step Brothers.
Yeah. Bow ties are out.
Bow ties are out, but...
all right, then I have another question. I'm kind of keep pulling you back here.
Yeah. That's probably good. I'll keep going.
Yeah. Resume. I wonder, so what was on your resume, knowing we know each other.
Yeah.
I know that you didn't have a lot of, like...
Zero interns.
Exactly.
Internships.
That's
Zero. Not at all. I raced my bike every summer, and I worked for a friend's dad.
So what was on there?
I participated in, like, Steel Bridge, and, like, I was one of the... I was like kind of on the board of ASE at the school. I don't remember really what my position was. It wasn't very high up, but I kind of went and was part of that a little bit. And that was really it.
Did you have a work experience and it was just like working for your friend's dad?
Yeah.
Section? It was,
That was it, yeah. Your experience of doing this. This was a miniature golf course. I helped make not only the holes, but all the dividing walls between it.
Yeah.
That was the wall issue.
That's a great story for an interview, though.
Yeah, so they asked me, like, because I wanted to show to them that I learned from something, and I'm not. The biggest thing I think that anyone could do is tell things that they messed up on and how they did it, and they learned from it, and so I told them this big mistake I made that is super embarrassing, right? Like, as an engineer, you made a wall 8'3", rather 8 foot, because you didn't think of the top and bottom, and that sounds so stupid, right? But when I was doing it, it just didn't. I wasn't even thinking about it. I was like, stud, boom, boom, and then pop it up, and it's like we're trying to rush it, and not think about it, and all that stuff. But like I sat there and I told them the story, and they're laughing, right? They're like, "Oh, that's so stupid," and I was like, "I know," and I said, I've learned that just because you think like really quickly, like, "Oh yeah, that's just boom, boom, boom." Like, you really need to slow down and think about something as simple as building a stud wall, right? And I think that's something like in engineering, too, is like, it may look super simple, but there might be more to it.
Yeah.
I think in the interview, showing like a weakness and like being open about it showed to them that during my career with that firm, when I messed up on stuff, I was going to be open about it.
Yeah.
I think that is so big.
And it's beating them to like that very typical question, which is weird to answer, is like, what are your greatest weaknesses? Which is terrible. I don't think anyone should even ask that, but it's getting to that point without having to go through the awkward question.
They always have those awkward questions, and and what's funny is like every interviewer laughs about it. Like, hey, so like what was like a thing you worked through once in a group that was difficult?
Yeah, it's almost awkward now because it's like so staged.
It's funny.
Those questions.
And I get why they're trying to start a conversation, right? To then dig in and like really get to know you. But I think there's better ways than asking these really awkward but they're helpful because you can prepare for them.
Yeah.
They also quizzed me, or had a little kind of test for me.
Yeah.
So one of the principals that was there was like, all right, test time. And the rest were like laughing. They're like, no, like we used to really dive in deep on people and like really ask them hard questions. But like, I don't think we really need to do that. And one principal was like, no, let's just ask them a couple questions. So they asked me I don't remember all of them, but I really remember he goes, what is ductility to you? What does ductility mean? And I kind of was like, well, it means like when the building starts going, it's got a little extra. And that's what I told him. I was like, your steel beams will go a little further than they really are supposed to. Like there's more
alluding to yielding without the
without the word. But I'm in this interview nervous. Right? I'm so nervous, and they're like, "What's ductility?" I'm like,
a little extra.
It's like when your beams are ductile. Okay, well, really we're looking for this, but like you touched it, just not like exactly, right? I was like, okay, what's another question?
You nicked all the edges.
Like they were okay with it. They didn't have any problem with it. And then they asked me a couple other questions, on the same, like defining a word that is something, and it really was coming to, they do massive high seismic projects.
Yeah.
Right? So if I didn't know what ductility was, that's a huge issue, right? Like a lot of big projects are made out of steel or concrete. And I mean, every system, ductility matters in high seismic. Mm-hmm. That is...
Takeaways then, I guess. Big picture here. Apply to a lot of jobs. It doesn't matter if they are hiring.
I think that's the biggest thing. Go after jobs that aren't pretty much
I
are.
I didn't say then is if you're somewhere local, I think it's fine to stop by places.
100%.
Just give them a call or
Yep.
swing by. Like sometimes it might be awkward and sometimes it doesn't work at all, but it never hurts.
No.
Never.
No, and you'll learn a lot about the firm when you meet the people in person.
Yeah.
Over the phone and email is so kind of disconnected to what they're like in person.
Yeah.
It's
You can even ask
huge.
for like an informational interview. I mean, you could
100%.
just say, hey, I'd like to know more about the firm. I'm finishing
100%.
school soon.
Yep.
You know, I think I want to get into structural engineering.
Do you
Can we
mind
grab
if
a
I
cup of
take
coffee?
10 minutes of your time?
Yeah.
To help you out.
Absolutely.
Almost.
More or less.
Yeah, because they are all there too, right? Like every engineer wants to boast about their firm and try to get young talent in there. So you ask questions, good or bad, like we can train you.
Mm-hmm.
Period. And that was what their approach was. It was very obvious they hired consistent people that were very similar.
Yeah.
There's some outliers always, right? But they were really into hiring people that were willing to learn, outgoing, and I think showing that and then interview really helped.
Yeah. Okay.
Whether
So
that's
you
gonna
got-
help every job, but yeah.
So you got to apply to positions that aren't even open. Just
Yep.
email people.
Yeah.
Ask for informational interviews. Dress nicer.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Um,
I think that's given any interview in life, really.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Cover letters are great. Always.
They're annoying.
They're annoying.
Yeah.
It's fine.
And now, like on the other end of it, like when was the last time you read someone's cover letter?
I never read
Like, like you're just like,
I just
okay,
see it comes out word with any spelling errors.
yeah, like oh look, they sell. Cool, like. I'm sure there's places that really read them, and HR probably reads them.
Yeah.
But
Okay, and it's no worries if you don't have any jobs to put on there.
nope,
Put anything you can and be ready to talk about it.
It's
It's almost better if you just start with a phone call because then
Yeah.
you could sell a little bit of yourself. You
Yeah.
can be a personality.
I would say set up your resume to be able to talk about things. Like I put that on there to talk about that experience that not only embarrassed me but showed them that I had some humility.
Yeah.
So yeah. So thanks for joining us this week, and
let's close this thing down.
you guys rock.
And this is the end. All
Goodbye.
Andes.